Hi, Charles here. Well, I'm drilling into a section of a runaway camper. It's pretty exciting. Thanks for watching. Well, today is the nicest day of the week as far as sunshine is concerned, so I wanted to get this little video done before Susie and I head out in a week and a half back to Florida to volunteer at a organic eco farm that's part of a missionary group down there. So we're going down there to work for 2 full weeks. No manatee watching or anything like that, but we're looking forward to be in a little warmer weather for a while. If you watch any of my videos, you know that Susie and I got the very first fiberglass runaway camper. There may be some wind noise right now. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm not going to drill in the house and get little pieces of plastic all over the floor. I'm not going to get myself in trouble. When we got that runaway, we immediately came home and cut holes in it. I cut a 14-inch hole square in the front, another one in the back for a passive vent in the back and a max air fan in the front. It went fine, drilled 4 holes, used a jigsaw, worked fine. I do want to tell you that things have changed though, as you likely know. If you got one of the first fiberglass ones like we had, it had the composite material, the honeycomb material that's a combination of PVC and fiberglass everywhere, roof, walls, and floor. And the roof was in 3 sections, like the old metal and wood ones. Then they've finally found someone who could make them the one piece that they needed that's like a boat fiberglass hull that's solid fiberglass. And I'm not going to talk about drilling into that. You can. I met someone at the homecoming rally who cut a hole just like mine that I did in our runaway that was made like this one on the roof. And he did it, but he got advice from Steve or Justin about where to drill that hole. It just has to do with how that one-piece thing is made, how it fits the mold, and where you should drill. So I don't know anything about that. So if you're going to do it, drill any holes in the one-piece roof, then talk to them. I'm primarily going to be talking about drilling holes either in a wall or the floor, especially the floor is kind of my suggestion. I know drilling holes scares people, especially when they have the wood and the metal ones, but I did it in our wood and metal one, and I just kept up, made sure that the silicone was sealed, and did my due diligence and checked everything. You know, people say silicone won't last forever. Well, not much of anything lasts forever. So you just check it every year, or every 6 months, and just check and make sure. If you're unsure about it, peel it off, put on new. I tend to use silicone like this outdoor stuff. That this is freeze and sunproof, and it's got really strong adhesion, and it's for outdoor use. And this is white, or you can use the clear, which is usually what I use. Today I'm not really going to do. I'm just going to talk about real quickly about doing this because I'm not going to waste a bunch of. I don't want to open this one up, and I've got a couple other things I'll show you. Just general information. So let's say you have underglow lights on your runaway. I did a video about that recently, and you want those underglow lights, and you'd like to power them with your Jackery, your EcoFlow that I like, or a Blue Eddy or whatever. And so you want to power it. You want to have your battery inside and in there, and it's safe because you might want to have the lights on and walk 20 campsites away and hang out with some friends, and then when you come back you can see your campsite, it's lit up. And so an easy way to do that and not leave your battery out is just drill a simple small hole in the corner in the front where your battery is sitting. And so what you want to do is drill as small a hole as possible. The Nightlight light kits that I've installed on people's runaways either have the cigarette plug on one end, and it goes underneath. But I don't want to drill a hole this big. In order to drill a hole this big, I'd have to use a hole saw this big, okay? And I'll show close-ups. I don't want to make a hole that big in order for this to fit through. So the easy solution is cut this off, run your wires up through the floor, and then you have several different ways of splicing them together. I do want to mention one of the Nightlight light kits has this plug and bare wires, so it's already bare wires. You run them up through the hole, and then what I tend to do is anymore, I just strip away bare wire. I connect red to red, black to black, and I twist them together. You can I call it splaying apart, and then twist them together and tape them, and then tape the other one black to black, and then tape all of it as one unit just to make it rock solid in there, okay? You also have, and I'll show close-ups, you can do what are called spade connectors, where you run one red wire in here and crunch it, and then you have this where this slides in, run the other red wire, crunch it, I tape it, and then it plugs into each other basically. Or you can use these butt connectors, which are plastic. They have a metal sleeve. You run the red wire in here, the other red wire in there. You crimp them with either pliers or a wire stripper that's also got a crimper in it, and crunch them down. And then these are neat because you can use a flame or a heat gun, heat it, and it shrink wraps and it melts around the wires. I still put some black electrical tape around it just to be sure. So you can just tape only, butt connectors, spade connectors, however you want to do that. It's not hard to do. And so I would use, like, I'm looking, this bit here looks like it should be about right to run this wire through. And so when you're drilling on these, you'll find that you're going to go through this hard surface, then into the honeycomb, which is about 1 inch, and then you'll hit the other side. So you go crunch through an empty spot kind of, and then again. So let me just do that. So I went crunch, easy, and then crunch through again. And so there's my hole. And so we're going to imagine that this is the underneath. And so I'm running my wires up through. Need to get them a little more together there. And it's going to run through fine. And so this is going to plug into the module that controls the lights, or it may just be wired directly to the control module. So you're just going to run the wire through. And so you just want to make this long enough, and then you do your splicing with a cigarette plug like this. If you don't have an extra, I suggest, and I'll pop a picture up, I use a company on Amazon called Cuzek, C-U-Z-E-K. I like their plugs. I wish they'd stop using these plugs. I wish they'd wire them a better way. But anyway, I like these. They stay tight better, you know. And so anyway, you wire it up, and there you are. Then what I would do is just take the silicone, both underneath and at the top, be liberal with it, smooth it around, and it's not going to go anywhere. I don't think there's a need to get a teeny tiny gasket and see if it'll stay in there. Just seal both sides of it. Water is not going to come through. You're good to go. So that's how you would do underglow lights, or let's say you've got LED lights that you run around the outside of your camper that you've got installed permanently, or let's say lights, a wire that comes down from your ARB or some kind of awning, one of those light strips. You just run it along the outside of your camper. You might use zip tie holders like these, and these stick really well to the fiberglass. And then you zip tie and hold the wires tight to your Runaway on the sides as it runs down to go underneath, or however you want to do it, okay? So there you go with that. Now what I want to do, I'm going to switch over real quickly to if you're going to run solar wires from your roof down. So let me get things set up here and we'll get going on this. Okay, so we'll wind this up a little bit about talking about solar. And I talked about solar in the last little video I did about powering your Runaway with a lithium battery like an EcoFlow or a Jackery or a Blue Eddy. Let's say that you've got on top of your Runaway, like a fair amount of people do, rigid panels. And that's what I like those better than the flexibles. They just, I don't know about the price difference, but I like how they're locked in tight on the roof rack. And the others, you've got to glue them or find a way to get them to stay, and I don't really trust that. I just like the rigid ones. So let's say you've got 1 or 2 panels and they're connected, and then off of those you need to have a way to plug into your battery. This is for an EcoFlow. It's an XT60 connector, and so I've got to get this inside, and I could do this. I could have the wires coming down the front of the Runaway, going down and using the cable tie little pad things, and you could have those on the side to hold it, and just have the cables coming up underneath. And I really, for you, I prefer this is the best. I think the best way to do it. And you would have this wire inside, and so you've got coming down from your roof. Let's imagine these are coming down from the roof. Usually they're a little heavier gauge than this, So these are coming off the roof, going underneath, and you've got a choice. You could have your connector, cut this, have it going through the hole in your floor, just like the hole you saw me do. So that's coming down through, and you can have, so you've got two wires coming, actually. So you'd have this, and it would be two wires coming down through, and then you would need to add new male and female MC4 connectors. And so you can buy a kit on Amazon. They're usually pretty cheap. They're like 4 or 8 pairs of these of these MC4 connectors, and I'm not going to show you. I think I have a video showing it, but you can find lots of videos where you've got this metal piece that you run the wire in, the positive here, and you crimp it, and then you can use pliers to do that, or they make a special tool that does that, and they're not that expensive. But just find a video. You'll see it's really, I was worried about it. It was so easy, and I crunch those, and it fits inside here, and then you put them together, and you do that for both the male and the female, and you plug them in. So you could have those underneath, and you could tape them up a lot. Some people use a plastic wire loom to protect their wires, but you know, it's kind of up to you. I think it would be better to bring those XT, have the wire come in and have, so for example, with this EcoFlow one, I would want this whole thing inside, and I would bring in the bare wires that are coming. Let's say these are the wires. Have them coming in, and they're already connected up there. You've got wires long enough, and the MC4s are connected up there. Are you with me? I think I'm trying to make it straight here. And so those wires are coming down, and you have bare wires on the end, okay? And you can just buy the bare wire. Most of them are 10 gauge. So have these wires come up through, seal it, and then get the kit, and with the new MC4 connectors, fit these in the sleeves, you screw them together, easy peasy. It really, really is easy. Watch out when you are connecting these, because if you've got everything plugged in upstairs and the sun is shining, you can shock yourself. You know, you can get a pretty good jolt, I think, off of the, depending on what size of your solar panel. So cover them up. If they've already got everything connected up there, be better just don't have them connected. Get all your wiring done inside, so you've got the MC4s connected, and then now whatever kind of connector your battery uses, like I say, this is the XT60 for EcoFlow. Jackery uses something else. Another option is if you go through your roof, they make what's called a solar gland. And so what this is, you have a bigger hole, and well, I guess it's not that much bigger, but you have your bare wires coming through, and what happens is, I'm holding one here, this one's I've already screwed in, it's got a gasket here and another gasket there, and so you, here come the wires off of the solar panels, and you feed these wires through, so now they're coming out here, and let's say if you put them on the roof, get your information from Runaway where to drill, but you drill your hole, and then you've got both of your wires coming in. I'll just stick this one in. And so these are watertight. You just have to get the right size for the right gauge, but you still could put some silicone around them. And so remember, these are now going back to the solar panel. There's a hole in the roof. I guess you could do this on the front as well. I don't think it's necessary underneath, but you could do it. I think a simple hole is easier. And so now you've got, if this is on the roof, this is coming down through your roof, and you put new MC4 connectors on it, connect it, you're good to go. And what people do is it takes 3 screws, and some people use what's called Sikaflex. Some people use what's called butyl tape, and it's like putty, and you put it all on the edge. This is what I did with my MaxxAir fan. And when you squish it down, it squeezes out, so it makes it super waterproof. But if you do that, I still would seal around the hole where the wires are, both inside and out. Put this on, screw it down, and then that will protect the hole where it's coming into the Runaway, so it's not going to leak because you're going to keep it all sealed. Again, you can use the butyl tape, Sikaflex, or both, I guess, and just seal around it. Seal the holes where the screws go in. So you've got several options. You go through the roof. I could see someone using this on the front, but I think it's just as easy just to come up under the floor. I think I've rattled on long enough. Some people, I just saw this, some people use what's called lap sealant around the outside edge. I did that for my Maxxair fan, and you just put it around. It's self-leveling, and when it seals, it's sealed. And you just check it now and then. So there you go. You can safely cut holes in your Runaway, and as I keep saying, for most situations, I think it's, for me, just easier just to come underneath, bring it through, and you're good. If you have it in the front, I know you're going to worry about, oh, the rain when I'm driving, or if it's on the top, the rain coming. If you have it underneath and it's sealed, you're good. So there you go. Be careful and don't drill into the one-piece roof without getting information and advice from Runaway. So I hope that helps somebody. If it scares you, maybe you should have someone else do it. I don't know. Well, anyway, thanks for watching.